given the economy where things are right now, we live in the past, present, and future all at the same time. So we have legacy applications, new applications, and things we want to do for the future. And there's a mindset tendency to look at legacy and not see the value of that, think that it needs to be replaced or it's limited. So the mindset change that we've enabled here has been, there's actually, our legacy systems are actually fit for purpose. And you can put extensions on them, like through API calls or web service calls. So we're really reusing that legacy system through web service and API calls to enable things such as our e-commerce channel. And then we've extended those web services into other efficiency tools. So we're using a product called, or a service called Connexion that we've opened up these API layers to, that allow customers to come in and have their order systems directly connect with ours. So really, if I were to put one point out there, is we're leveraging what we have in an effective and efficient way with a different mindset in the organization.
For us, it's really been a challenge in my first year, which I just finished a little while ago, around changing that legacy mindset, that retail, transportation, logistics industry mindset around productized offerings and severely limiting customizations for our service and client integrations. I think as I look across, the leadership team, this idea that automation can just happen in this world where AI, ML is, the talk of the town and everything like that. So really, after dealing with kind of those first efforts in this first year around the idea of standardized, productized offerings where we know our business best and it's why our customers come to us. Now it's to take a look at that idea of automation. And for me, it's in this next year, it's really around three key areas. It's around security. So automating the security monitoring from the early stages of development and integration, the testing, which is, the most recommended phase for automation, and then improved version and source code control. So we know what we have out there and we can move forward with the automation much more simplistically.
So what I have done in the past includes like a development automation, and the concept is like everything shift left, right? So when a developer start to build the user story for first API, they also writing their automated testing script. So when they work on the second one, the first one is like self-tested already. So like from development, that's what we call like shift left. From an end-to-end testing perspective, a lot of the integrated or end-to-end testing is automated. So when we build new products or new platforms, my mandate is like we do not create any manual testing case. So everything should be automated. Across my portfolio right now, it's 70% automated end-to-end. Deployments and ongoing release trains, like those are all automated to ensure that when we deploy one environment, all the other environments are automatically deployed and released.
Because we are a cloud native organization, so for us, automation is really the key to be successful in many areas. So, and it actually allowed us to be that because we don't have any legacy in that, typical organization. So for us, automation revolves around continuous integration and continuous delivery. That's pretty much what the typical automation is all about. But we just recently started to utilize more and more low code, no code in everything. And I just heard Anand mention the workflows. That actually is one of our success factors, that we do use a lot of workflows in it. I'd be very interested to hear what he has to say about modularization, because that was new to me. I just heard it first time, but we do that quite a bit. And we actually have started now working with the business to kind of more narrow down our, not just DevOps, but Dev security and data ops, which is a combination of all of them. So that is what we're doing for our automation. Focus is being since a year now, and it's been giving quite a bit of dividends, especially on low code, no code. You could easily deploy it and get the business review immediately, pretty much. So that's what we're doing today.
We think about this question quite extensively, especially in light of the bold claims sometimes companies make about what generative AI will do. And I think it's important to take those with a cautious grain of salt while embracing some of the possibilities for the upside. So we think about the 70% number is actually the magic number for where organizations should try to get to for the percentage of the life cycle they can successfully automate. There are some parts that we all know are table stakes, like continuous deployment and test case automation, but increasingly the parts that are interesting to automate are parts that increase leverage for individual creators inside the software development lifecycle. So we think about DevSecOps as a key place to incorporate security as part of the automation process. We think about places like the design to development handoff as a key place where you can meaningfully replace without a deep loss of fidelity a part of a developer's unconstructive day in parsing Figma files or InVision files. We also think about places that you can automate upstream into the planning process. So looking at the product requirements writing process as something where you can standardize and effectively automate places where there is a need to create requirements that might be more standard than what you would see. You don't want end users sitting down and writing documents from scratch every time when they can think about the organization's own standards as a starting point. Finally, places you can safely generate code or incorporate modules that have been existing inside your own organization's repositories for some time are good places you can start to step up the automation of the actual code generation. Though it's important to be judicious in how you're using that when you roll out solutions of that flavor. So when we think about code reuse, there's two parts, but the basic ideas are that organizations end up redeploying and reinventing the wheel across disparate software projects more often than they should. And one of the key linchpins of a strategy to get to 70% code reuse, at least the way that we see it, is for organizations to systematically look at which modules, components, and artifacts they should be reusing across their organizations, and then providing end users with ways to build using those tools, ideally during the planning process, so that applications are largely modular and the end results end up becoming far simpler from a maintenance and deployment perspective. But it starts with understanding where you have modules that you can reuse and then making use of those modules throughout.